Hi, this is the first of several tutorials we're going to do on consolidated Excel functions. You do not need to have completed the following course to use consolidated Excel functions or wizards, but it will provide a better understanding of their use, which will help you build or customize reports generated by our wizards. In this video, we use our Granular general ledger functions, which are ideal for consolidation, to create this income statement sheet you see here, optionally filtered by cost centers, such as rep. Plus, get the current balance of the bank accounts by hot-linking your Excel sheet to your chart of accounts, refreshed whenever you open the sheet within seconds. In the next video, we use one function to spill many values to a sheet which is very fast. But let's start with the basics. Take it away, Kim.
Thanks, Jim. Firstly, this video follows the tutorial on our website, link in description below. We suggest you use the same supplied demo data so the example chart of accounts is the same. You can easily change to your own codes later. Let's start a new sheet. First, we are going to start with the basics. Pressing the Consolidated Excel button on the Excel Home toolbar will show the Consolidated Excel task panel on the right of the sheet. In this panel, we can see our list of connected companies. Each one has a 6-letter code, which can be changed in the Adjacent Options menu. This CXL company code is then used as a parameter with each CXL function to get data from the Financial Accounting Summarization table, we call FAST for short. It summarizes all financial information by financial period and week.
Smart.
In cell B2, let's add a label, called Company. Then write Justify and bold the cell. In C2, let's enter one of the demo company codes we see listed on the right. 001. Which is based on Xero data, but the principle is the same for all other accounting packages. We will be using this company code throughout the following tutorial to retrieve data from the chart of accounts. Let's name this cell CXL Comp, so it's easier to use and the functions. After entering the name, in the name box, don't forget to press return, else Excel does not define the name. Let's get company name by entering a formula in cell D2. Enter CXL. Full stop. Get company name, with a single parameter of that named cell, CXL Comp. Now we know which company we are getting data for, and if we change the code it is updated and validated. Let's get a bit more information, such as when it was last synced in the current period. In cell D3 we add formula CXL. Full stop. Get company status with parameter CXL Comp. And press return.
So we can easily see that the data is up to date and what the current period is. Handy?
That's great. Now let's get the sales for the last 12 periods, for all our sales general ledger codes, and the total revenue for those GL codes. In column B from row 10 down, let's type some sale GL codes and a special code #revenue to get total revenue. In the next video we'll show how to get a list of these codes. Next we will get the name of these GL codes using function CXL. GL name with parameter CXL Comp. And the GL code in cell B10. Press return. Now copy down sheet by dragging the drag handle. To get the 12 months turnover figures, let's put a series of period numbers 1 to 12 in cell E7 onwards, across the sheet. In row 6 repeat the current year given in the cell D3, returned in the company status formula we got earlier. In cell E10 let's add equals CXL. GL val with parameters CXL Comp. To identify the company. $B10 for the company code. Note the use of the $sign, which uses absolute cell referencing, so when we copy or drag the function across the sheet, the row or column reference does not change if preceded by the $sign. A handy trick here is to use function key 4. Excel adds the $sign and rotates its position if repeatedly pressed. Next parameter $6 for the year. And finally $7 for the period. Press Return to get the period turnover for period 1 year 2023. Now drag the formula down and across. We now have our first hot linked report. Sales for a whole year aged by 12 accounting periods.
So when you reopen the sheet, the figures will just refresh to the latest figures.
Yes, very fast, and of course the data is kept up to date automatically.
Smart.
Now let's add 2 more period columns. For period 0 and 199 in columns Q and R. And fill in the year with the same values. Drag the CXL GLVAL formula across the sheet. We now see total for the year in the 199 column, and in the period 0 column the year to date, based on current company period, for the year. If we had other year columns, then they would be the year to date for those years.
And can we add headings to those columns?
Yes. And the period headings will automatically change, like magic, when we change the aging method. Let's start by adding a cell for aging method selection. In cell B5 enter text age. Then write justify and bold that. Name cell C5 CXL options like we did with company code earlier, and don't forget to press return. In cell E9 add formula CXL. Full stop get period name. With parameters CXL comp to identify the company. $6 for year. And $7 for period. And finally the named cell CXL options, which we will see in action in a moment. Now copy the formula over from column E to column R. Bold and write justify the row. We now see the columns have headings appropriate for the period asked for. Next we need to rewire the glval function to include the CXL options we just added. We alter this in cell E10 to add 2 blank text values, to add CXL options. The 2 blank parameters are for cost centers, aka tracking code, classes, and locations, which we will discuss later. Drag the new formula down and across to make all formula include the CXL options cell. Now for the magic, if we change C5 to AQ in the options cell. We now see all the values and the headings change to give the values by accounting quarter. Periods over 4 now give an error because accounting quarter only has 4 periods. You may need to alter the period number accordingly. We discuss how the consolidated Excel wizards overcome this later. Change C5 to CQ for calendar quarter. Or W for week. Or C for calendar periods, etc. Now we can see the headings have changed to months, and the figures are in calendar months. Now let's delete the code to go back to accounting periods, which is the default. We can even ask to change all the values to a different currency. Say my company is in pound sterling and I want to report to my head office in US dollars. We just add the code to USD.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes, smart hey. And we can combine these values together separated by a comma. So if I add W to that cell value, we get the report in US dollars, aged by weeks.
And can that be broken down into cost centers, such as a rep?
Yes. We interface with 3 different accounts packages at present, which all have different names for different cost centers. In Xero they're called tracking codes 1 and 2. In Sage Online Accounting they're called cost centers and departments. And in QuickBooks they're called classes and locations.
Okay, I see, but we call them cost centers as a generic term.
Yes. Now add another label, rep, in cell B8. Leave cell C8 blank. But name it CXL rep. Next edit the formula in cell E10 to add this as the second cost center filter, which is defined as rep, in tracking code 2 in this Xero example data. and copy down and across, to wire all formulas to the rep code in C8. If we now type SAM in the rep C8 cell, the values are all filtered by rep SAM. Or Tim, etc.
Smart.
The value of no analysis gives the value for any amount booked with no rep code. And none or blank gives all values. Well done, we have our second hot linked report. Sales for a whole year by periods filtered by rep.
Okay, that's great. We can now see our sales turnover for the whole year. What about the latest values of certain items on the balance sheet?
To get the current balance of a GL value on the balance sheet, let's just copy and paste the formula we already have. I'll copy the GL code, get name and first period value formula, using Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V to copy and paste. We will get the balance of 090, which is the bank current account in demo company. And now all we have to do is simplify the formula. We are going to reduce the parameters to simply the company code and the GL code we want the balance for. And here we have the current balance. Of course, we could also get the balance as of the end of a period, if we had wanted to, by leaving year and period in.
Smart.
We also have a reserve account, 091. And to get the total of all bank accounts we use #bank. But note Excel has removed the leading zeros, since it is treating it as a number, but consolidated Excel is smart enough to fill that back if need be if they match a GL code. In the next video we will hot link a whole section of the balance sheet, such as all bank accounts, with one function. Finally, let's just run the income statement wizard, also known as profit and loss, to show you how it has a trick to handle relative periods. And proceed through the wizard. First, selecting the companies to consolidate. Next, the number of periods and aging method. We will go for 12 periods, plus show a few years of history. Next, it asks if I want to break down based on all or individual cost centers. We will keep this simple. And finally, format options. I will unhide the top section of the report, which we will discuss in a moment. Next, we press the Create button. Consolidated Excel first creates the consolidated GL table, like we created at the start of this video, and then uses this information to build a P&L for the two companies selected. The report it created is driven by rows 3 to 8. In these rows we provide the functions in each column, the data to get figures from the specified connected company, for year and period. And optionally filter by cost centers. For example, if I change the rep code to rep SAM, we see the figures change in the report, but you can see the criteria being repeated in row 8. This means you can control what is being hot linked in each column of data. Hence, this consolidated data can be rearranged and customized if need be. For instance, if I change the rep to Tim in the period 4, we see the figures for Tim being brought through in the column below. I'll reset that edit. Also note, to bring the total for year through, we have asked for period 199, in column I to get the total for all periods, regardless of the number of reporting periods. If I change the age by period to weeks, you can now see we have by weeks and the period headings changed automatically, like the report we created earlier. Let's change back to accounting periods. Again, the headings changed to reflect the periods. And now I will change the last period asked for, in cell C17, to period 4, for year 2023. We now see the relative periods in rows 5 and 6 change, working back from period 4, for year 2023, for 12 periods. Which means the first 6 columns now show the previous year's periods 5 to 12 automatically. These period and year inputs are fed back to the functions in rows 5 and 6, together with a relative period in row 4. These functions then work out the correct year and period to show in each column, relative to the figure in row 4. Changing the aging method to accounting quarters will then calculate the last 3 years of periods from period 4, year 2023, and all the headings change accordingly. And we can do the same for calendar periods or calendar quarters also. You can easily rearrange columns, parameters, periods, and add your own columns for your own purposes really easily. You can see here we got all these figures, in real time, for 2 companies from the FAST database. No queries were speeded up for this video, all in real time. In the next video, using the spill functions, we can get all this in one function faster, but with less control over each column.
Consolidated Excel is a kind of secret wand for financial wizardry. That's been great, and thanks for watching. See the video description for more information.